Yeah. All right. Okay. So my name is Sahil, and thanks, Prachi, for the lovely introduction. And so I'm currently working in UK as a senior business analyst. So I'll go into detail of what my day-to-day job looks like and everything. So it's a frank conversation. So I'll go through the slides. Feel free to ask me questions. I've not used Microsoft Teams before, so yeah, Pandey was quite proficient with it, raising hands and messages and stuff. So just help me along if you have any questions. But yeah, okay, so I'll make a start. So I'll start with my introduction of my journey of life, where I've born and brought up and where I am now. So I've done my schooling and early years in Patiala, and it's in Punjab. It's one of the small cities. You would have heard it for notorious reasons, Patiala Peg and all. But yeah, it is quite famous. But it is a small town. So and I think in school I was a very average student, and I think there was a point in time when my parents were worried that if I'll even get admission into a college, or if I'm good enough for a college or not. Because I remember passing with 33% marks in a pre-board exam. So my parents were worried. I was not a brilliant student in school. I was average or below average. But by the time my school was ending, then I realized that I need to study harder and work harder, put in more efforts if I want to go to college, leave lead a life which I want to lead. Go into corporate and mark my career there. So those are my early years, and then I did what everyone else was doing, engineering plus MBA. So that was quite a rage back then. I'm not sure if it is still there, but many people were doing engineering and then MBA. So that was quite the rage back then. So I did my computer engineering from PTU, and then uh, I was not really interested in engineering. I mean, I did it, but I learned a lot of computer science stuff, which still helps me out in conversations. Now, if you have a technical background, and eventually you'll end up speaking with some of the techies. So if you are speaking with techies and if you know some of the basics, you you can be ensured that nobody's trying to fool you, and you're able to make the most out of the conversations, and they don't think of you as a management person. They think of you as an all-rounder person. So it does help me now. But yeah, by the time my engineering was ending, I realized that I want to do MBA, and that was my vision and that was my goal. So I worked really hard, cracked the snap exam, cracked the interview, came to MBA in SIBM Bangalore. I knew even before I joined SIBM that I want to do finance. So that was my vision. So I came to MBA, really good, wonderful years, 2 years in SIBM Bangalore. I'm sure many of you are still not have not seen the college life working from home, but once you go to college, you'll realize it's a good place to be, a good place to interact with other students, other peer groups, form relationships for life, friendships for life. So yeah, one of the key thing is once you go into your college, form a strong peer network and socialize with your groups. It's important to study, but it's also important to socialize with your peer groups, form those relationships for life. That will help you in your the whole life, and you need to help out your peers. So yeah, so MBA finished, then I worked for HCL. I got placed in HCL, and then I got an opportunity to work in South Africa. So worked in South Africa for 2.5 years as a business analyst, and so a really good experience there. I'll cover it in my next slides. And then I came back to India and started looking for another assignments. Got an assignment in UK, cleared the interviews and stuff. So yeah, I've been here for last 5 years, and yeah, my plan is to settle down here. So that's my journey has been. So my role currently is senior business analyst, so which involves so my day-to-day job looks like speaking with, interacting with a lot of directors and senior directors, understanding their vision in terms of what they want the technical systems to look like, what the systems to look like, and then going back to drawing board, drawing it up, playing it back to them that what does their vision looks like in a tangible form, because when you're speaking with the directors or senior directors, they don't have a lot of time on their hand. They'll say a lot of things on the fly, and then you need to absorb all of that information, document it, do some modeling on it, do some diagrams on it, and then present it back to them with a vision that, is this what your vision looks like? And they would enhance it, make some changes, and then you have a draft document of what you want to work on. And then you need to pass it on to the technical teams, make them realize what the vision looks like, and then they will draw it up. So one of the key things that I'm working on right now is designing a portal app. So I work for an insurance company basically, and they did not have a portal. They did not have a mobile app until 1 year back, or until 9 months back. And with the change in shift of technology, people using more and more mobiles, and people not relying a lot on letters and posting letters and stuff. So that was the need of the hour, to launch a mobile app for our company. And so that was the vision we got. We need a mobile app for our customers, from the directors and senior directors. And then it was my job to understand, what does it look like, which platforms do we need to launch it on, what features we need to provide. You can't provide all the features that are available. Insurance is a huge industry. Starting from, if you want to do a change of address of someone, or you want to change the funds that are there in your underlying insurance, there are hundreds and hundreds of features. So you can't provide all of that in a mobile app. You can't confuse your customer. So then you need to rely on the data. You do some data analysis, find out what are the most commonly used features, and then try to launch those ones first. So data plays a key role in my analysis. Trying to find the volumes from last many years, seeing the customer trends, what customer would like us to do, how much time customer spends on each transaction, and then eventually building it up for the customer. So data plays a key role. So that's, at a high level, that's my role: speaking with directors, senior directors, understanding the vision, drawing it up, documenting it, and then passing it on to the technical teams to to build the system. And the job doesn't end there. You need to support the technical teams throughout the journey, or throughout the life cycle of the system. So that's my introduction. And then what I've done with my PowerPoint is I've divided it into 3 sections. So one is during my MBA days, my experiences and some of the lessons that I've learned. And then I'll move on to my South Africa days, and then I'll move on to my UK days. So starting with MBA days, so again, I would say by the time I came to do my MBA, that was my goal. So I was putting a lot of efforts in it. I was an above average student. At that point, 3-pointer used to be a big thing. So I was in one of the 3-pointer club. And but yeah, so I completed most of the assignments on time. So yeah, I would say I was a above average student when I came to my MBA. Which my parents were quite happy about, because I was not really good in school. So they were happy to see me doing good in my studies, at least during my MBA days. But not only studies, I also had good time with my friends, and, formed some good relationships and all, friendships. But yeah, fast forward to my placement interview days. So I was rejected by many companies, Genpact, Goldman Sachs, HSBC. So many of the companies, at different stages. In many companies got rejected in an interview. In many companies, they did not even shortlist our application. In many companies, they did not qualify after a written test. So, and that is part and parcel of your MBA life. You might be able to crack your first interview, but if you don't crack your first interview, it's not the end of the world. You'll get plenty of opportunities to catch up on. SIBM is a good college. It will provide you a lot of opportunities. So don't worry about it. So key lesson is that, I appeared for a lot of interviews, appeared for a lot of companies. Many of them did not shortlist us. Many of them just said, because I came as a fresher, I did not have any prior work experience. So many of the companies said, oh, we want someone with experience, so we can't shortlist your application. So I was disheartened back then, but now when I see in retrospect, it doesn't make a lot of difference in your career now. So yeah, but eventually I got placed in HCL, and I was not really happy about it, to be honest. It was not something that I was looking for in terms of CTC, in terms of profile. Uh, I remember I got placed, and I came back to my room at around like half two or three. I had room 513 in the hostel, middle bed in the 513, so three room, three people occupancy room. And I was sleeping at around seven, half seven. My roommate came in and he woke me up and he started congratulating me. And I was not really feeling like it. And yeah, he asked me for a treat. I gave the treat, but I was not really happy about my placement then. But then then you sleep on it, and then next day you say to yourself, okay, I promised myself that I'll work hard now. I have a job. I'm going to work hard to achieve my goals and dreams. And there's nothing that can stop you once you have work in hand. Your career is in your hand. It doesn't matter if you get placed in a your dream company, or if you placed in your backup company. You will get a lot of opportunities in life to catch up on. uh, Yeah, and other thing now that I realize, in with the benefit of hindsight, with retrospect, that your start of your career doesn't define what you'll achieve in your life. It might give you a head start. I'll not deny that, but you'll get plenty of opportunities in life to catch up on. And I can tell you with experience that once you start working, you get a lot of opportunities. You get to interact with a lot of people. It's up to you, how do you approach those opportunities, how do you crack those opportunities. And once you have cracked those, you will achieve what you wanted to achieve. And now that I see in retrospect, the students who got placed in the first company or in the dream company, or where I am, there is no difference in our career. Life is a marathon. It might sound spiritual and like one of those LinkedIn talk, that life is a marathon, not a sprint, but it is true. It's not going to, your start of your career doesn't define you. You'll have, like in a marathon, you'll get plenty of opportunities to catch up and do what you wanted to do, achieve what you wanted to achieve. And uh, apart from your, like in a marathon you have your running skills. It's not only that, you need to be mentally strong. You need to understand, see the bigger picture. So that is quite an important lesson, that don't get disheartened if you don't get placed in your first company. You'll get a plenty of opportunities to catch up on. You'll achieve what you wanted to achieve. And again, there would be setbacks in your life, but your attitude towards it defines your future. So like when I got placed in HCL, I was not happy with it. That was a setback. I thought it was a setback in my life at that point, but now when I see it, it was not a setback. It was a foundation of what I have achieved now in my 7.5 years of my career. But your attitude towards it defines your future. You can, if you get a setback in your life, you can either get disheartened and just lose hope in your life, or you can fight towards it, see a brighter future, do some hard work. And that's the attitude that companies are looking for. There would always be failures in companies. It's your attitude, how you handle that situation, and how you come out of it, how you help the company in coming out of that situation, that would determine what you will achieve in your life. So that's about my HCL days. Sorry, about my MBA days. Fast forward to South Africa now. So I started working in HCL. So I was in HCL Bangalore. So got a call one day. I remember I was riding my bike to office, and my manager was calling me continuously, and I was not able to pick up the call. And when I reached office, I called up my manager and I said, "Oh, yeah, hi Dipanju, you were calling me up." And I said, "Oh, Sahil, can you travel to Mumbai tonight? Client Steve Cooper is coming from South Africa, from Johannesburg, to interview a few candidates for the business analyst position at Johannesburg." So yeah, I said, "Yeah, I'm happy to travel to Mumbai tonight." So he helped me out in sorting out all the logistics and all. And so I flew to Mumbai overnight. I remember I reached my hotel at around 2 a.m. or something in the morning. And the interview was, next day, the morning that I reached basically. So I slept for a few hours, woke up in the morning, went for breakfast in the hotel. And when I went for the breakfast in the hotel, I saw there were like a dozen of HCL guys sitting there having breakfast. And many of them I knew because they trained us how to be a business analyst. So many of them were with 10-year plus experience as a business analyst. So I was stacked against them. So one of the guy, was sitting there. He asked me, "Oh, Sahil, what are you doing here? Are you helping in organizing the interview?" I said, "No, I'm here for the interview." So he was also surprised that I, being a fresher with just 3 to 4 months of experience, how can he apply for the same role as we are applying? So then went for the interview, sat in the hotel for the whole day. Client did not interview me. In the end, I got a call from a manager at around 6 p.m. or something. He said, "Oh, Sahil, really sorry to say it, but client doesn't want to interview you." He said, "You're too inexperienced, and it's like working in a war zone when you go to a client site. There are literally, they call it war rooms, and you'll not be able to work there." And he said, "Really sorry, and I can't speak further." And he basically said, "You can't be interviewed." So obviously I was disheartened, but since I couldn't speak with my manager, I still thought that I haven't got my chance to present my point of view, what I can offer. So I sent an email to my manager saying that, "Hey, Dipanjan, I still feel that, I should be given a chance," and gave him a bunch of reasons that, I'll bring in a fresh perspective. I've done MBA. I'm good in data. I'll agree to do some certifications if required. And, so I give a bunch of reasons that why I should be given an opportunity. It was all very positive, all very assertive. It's not like a complaining kind of tone. It was like a requesting, positive, assertive tone. And to my luck, my manager was sitting next to Steve Cooper having dinner, and he just showed him the email, and he said, "Sahil sent this email." And so Steve Cooper was a bit impressed. He said, "Okay, call him for interview tomorrow." So I went again next day early morning for an interview, had a chat with him, had an interview, and he agreed to hire me. He said, "Yeah, come on as a junior business analyst." He did say that, then he said, "Okay, we can make it work. We can tag you up with a more senior BA. He can train you on the job." But he liked my attitude. He liked my way how I'm approaching the situation, how I did not get just disheartened and didn't do anything in life. But while I was sending that email, I was still in Mumbai. So I thought, okay, let me go and do some sightseeing also. So while I was sending that email on the previous day, I went to Bandra and saw Shah Rukh Khan's and Salman Khan's house. I remember it was Ganesh Visarjan that day. So yeah, I still found time to enjoy life's little pleasures. You have to do that. You can't get too mentally stressed about stuff. Stuff will happen, but you need to find time to enjoy life's little pleasure. But also you need to be positive and assertive, like how I was with my sending my email to my manager explaining why I should be given an opportunity. And then it was luck that he showed it to Steve, and Steve was impressed by it. He called me for an interview, and eventually I was selected. And then I went to South Africa, landed in a beautiful country. Although I'm not sure if you know about it, there's a lot of crime there in South Africa, so you need to be really cautious about it. But it is a beautiful country to at least go as a tourist. So fast forward to my working days in South Africa, and fast forward to my working days in Africa. I'd like to share an experience with you, which would help you in working in your international workplace experience, or if you are working with an international client. So one day I was in a meeting. In that meeting, it was my HCL manager's manager, And there were a few managers from client side also. So I got placed in a bank. It was called Standard Bank. So it's a few client side managers. So we were all in a meeting, and my manager's manager was presenting something on the slides, and I was sitting in a meeting, and I saw something which was wrong. Some information was wrong on the PowerPoint slides, but I did not have courage to point it out during the meeting that this is wrong in your slide, because as I was not sure whether it was in my position to speak at that point, and especially the client being there. So I kept my mum. I did not say anything. And after the meeting, I had dropped an email to my manager's manager saying that, hi, this information was incorrect in your slide. Do you want to correct it? And I immediately got a call back from my manager's manager. First, I thought, okay, maybe he's saying that, it's not in my position to speak and all. But he just said to me, oh, Sahil, why did you not point it out during the meeting? I said, I was a bit nervous that, if it's the right thing for me to point it out in a meeting with the client sitting there, with you being my manager's manager and not just my manager. So then, yeah. So he said, yeah, he then told me a lesson. He said, being an Indian, we are always told to follow hierarchy in school, in colleges, even in our homes. But if you're working in an international workplace, people want you to speak freely. They want you to, speak freely, speak your mind. Don't worry about people judging you. If you feel something is incorrect, point it out then and there. They'll appreciate it more. So yeah, so that's the lesson he told me, that don't worry about hierarchy. Speak your mind freely. Speak what you want to speak. It would have saved a lot of time for everyone, and they will appreciate it. They'll not judge you. So that was a good lesson that they taught me, that speak your mind freely. Don't get bogged down by what everyone else will think. If you think something is correct, speak about it. Nobody's going to judge you. And that is quite an important lesson for you guys also. Even if you're not working in an international workplace, even if you're working in an organization where the client is sitting abroad, and you're having your conference calls and all, and then even if you feel something is incorrect, speak your mind freely. Don't worry about it. They will appreciate it. And again, it's not only applicable to international workplace. Even if you're working in India, the organizations are changing now. Most of our organizations are multiple national corporations, and they do want you to speak freely. And especially being an MBA, you have those speaking skills, you have those presentation skills, you have those soft skills to speak your mind freely. You know how to manage people. You have stakeholder management skills, you have conflict management skills. So you gain all of that skills during your MBA. You might not realize it, but once you start working in an organization, you will see that you have gained all of those soft skills. And that is all due to a lot of practical experience that you get during your MBA. I remember you'll get a lot of group projects to do on. You'll get a lot of presentations that you have to do. You have to do a lot of group activities. So if you're working in a group, there will always be conflicts. One person might say something else, another person would say something else. And how you approach that situation, how you get that conflict resolved, that will all add up and help you in the organization. So the key message is speak your mind freely. Don't worry about what's going around. If you think something is incorrect, speak about it. And that's what I did afterwards, and it has helped me out. Okay, so those are my South Africa days. And so after 2.5 years of working in South Africa, I decided that this doesn't fit in my long-term goal, or this is not where I want to settle down. So it was a good opportunity to work in South Africa, to work with international clients, to work in a huge bank. Standard Bank is the biggest bank of Africa. To understand the different areas of the banking systems, and understand the best practices of my job and how the big organizations work. So it was a really good experience, and not only professionally but personally also, because I lived on my own, away from India, and away from some of the luxuries that we do get in India, like, getting someone to cook food for you, getting someone to clean your house. So away from all the luxuries, so you do develop a lot of personal qualities also. You understand, how to live alone, how to survive in a situation where you're not surrounded by your family and friends. So you gain a lot of skills working abroad, not only professionally but personally also. But after after 2.5 years of working there, I realized that this is not something I wanted to do as a long term in my life. And so I said, yeah, I should go back and look for another opportunities. So that was a big risk that I took in my life, leaving a job in a in a country where people now, where the work, where the company that you're working for, and leaving that job and started looking for a different project to work on. But but that's like any other thing in life. You need to keep trying something new, and you need to take risks. If you don't take risks, and if you get stuck in a mundane kind of lifestyle, uh, you might, some people might be happy with that. I'll not judge them. But if you are one of the experimenting type, if you are one of those people who want to achieve higher and higher, then you need to keep trying something new, and you have to take risks. So that was a risk that I took. I left a job in South Africa, came back to India, started looking for different projects, and then a project came along. It's not that simple. I had to contact like 100 different people. Again, like Avinash also said, you need to be professional when you're approaching people. You need to tell them, you just can't say to them, oh, can you give me a job, I'm available. You need to tell them, what are your skills, what you can bring to the company, and how they can help you. Nobody, even in Western countries and in bigger companies in India, no one individual has hiring or firing powers. It's all up to board and all. They can provide you an opportunity, they can provide you an interview, but nobody can just give you a job based on your CV, or based on how well they know you. So yeah, so you need to keep trying something new, take risks, approach people in a constructive way to get jobs. So how I got the UK project was, I approached like 100 different people, and out of those 100 different people, 10 people responded. Out of those 10 people, you know 7 people said, oh, we don't have anything. 3 people said, oh, we might have something. Do you want to set up an interview or something? So yeah, so I gave 2 interviews, cleared one, went to UK, then started working in UK. So it was a different experience in itself, working in UK compared to South Africa or compared to India. And the some of the luxuries that I used to get in South Africa, that also got taken away. So UK is very self-reliant when you come to someone's personal life. You'll not get you have to clean your house on your own, you have to cook on your own. You have to do some of the they call it DIY, do it yourself stuff on your own, gardening. And even if you uh, want to build up a wardrobe or something, you have to do everything on your own. You'll not get the luxury of getting the labor, or those kind of things in India. So it helps you in your personal growth also. uh, Next one, I'm going to talk about one of the project that I worked on, and what are the lessons that I learned from there. So like I said, originally we were working on a portal app, and as part of that portal app, we wanted to launch some of the functionalities for our customers, where we were telling our customers that they can have the some of the insurance related functionalities, like change of address, fund switching, terminate your policy and all. So I was working on that app. It was a big app for the company. It was something that they had to do it. If we can't do it, then we'll be left behind our competitors. Our share prices will fall. And so it was a critical project for the company to launch a app for our customers. And it might sound simple, but being in a financial services industry, there are a lot of regulations involved. You can't just let people play with their money. Even if even if their own pension money, you can't let people play with their own money until and unless you are 100% sure they have received financial advice, there is no fraud happening there. We see a lot of cases like that, where you're sitting in a pub, your friend will say to you, "Oh, why don't you invest in this crypto currency? You'll get like 100% returns in 2 years." We can't let people play with their pension money like that. If they want to, they need to take proper financial advice, give us proof that they have consulted everyone, they're happy with it. But we can't let just people take their money out and invest in crypto and lose everything, because if you don't have pension money, then the state will have to support you, the British government will have to support you, and the government doesn't allow us to do that. So there are lots of regulations involved, so it was not a simple project. There was lots of certain nuances linked to the project. But yeah, so I think so we're working on this portal app, a nice shiny app that we wanted for our customers. We're working on it for like good 6-7 months. We launched. So as part of our launch mechanism, what we did was we sent a lot of activation codes to our customers, and the activation codes were sent in a physical letter. So when the customer received the letter, we asked them, okay, download the app on your phone, and once you have downloaded it, just put in this activation code, and we'll log you in, and we'll start showing you your pension and your policy details. What's the fund value of your policy and all of that. So we sent a lot of activation codes, but what happened was many people were putting 0 as O, or they were putting L as 1. And what they were doing was eventually they were putting wrong activation codes because they were interpreting 0 as O or some different characters. And what happened was their account was getting logged after 2 or 3 wrong entries. That led to a 50% registration success. So imagine, if 100,000 people were trying to log on to our app, 50,000 failed. 50,000 were able to log on, but 50,000 failed. And now what would those 50,000 people do? They'll start calling up our call center. And our call center started getting busy. And so then we started getting a lot of complaints. We started getting a lot of bad reviews on Trustpilot. And, basically it was in shambles, to be honest. It was a big failure for us. Having a 50% failure rate is not good for any company. It was very bad. The only saving grace was it did not come in the newspaper. So that is the ultimate failure. If you get news in the newspaper of a failure, that's the biggest failure that you can. But we were lucky it did not go to that stage. It didn't go into the newspaper. But overall, it was a big failure for our project, our company. Personal failure. If you're working on something for 9 months, you'll take it personally. Especially I have seen the difference in Indians and Westerners. Indians get attached to the project, and they think of it as a baby. They forget the personal and professional distinguish. They'll forget about the professional and personal lines. The work becomes their life, which is all right. Indians have a strong work ethic. There's nothing bad about it, but people take it personally. I took it personally. I took it as a personal failure. I was having some sleepless nights. I was having some nightmares about it. But that's the thing. You can't get bogged down by criticism, by failures. The key thing at that point was, how do we improve it? So what we did was, our next plan of action was, we saw a lot of reviews on Trustpilot. We spoke with few users, listened to few phone calls that customers did to our call center, where they explained or complained about the issues. So we know what the issue is, and so yeah, back again, data analysis come into picture. You see how many people tried to register, how many people failed in third attempt, what people tried to key in, and based on all that data, we were able to create a picture of what's happening wrong when customer is trying for it. So we grouped together, we sat down as a project team. We thought of different ways, presented it to our senior directors that these are our options now. So we decided on the best option that, instead of sending activation code in a letter, we'll directly send them a link to their registered email. And once they click on that link, we'll directly log them in. So we were able to turn that around in 5 weeks' time, and that was a huge success. I'm not sure if you're able to realize, how quick 5 weeks go in terms of a project implementation. It is very quick. 5 weeks is a huge success. So we developed this new mechanism in 5 weeks, and we launched. We did a relaunch, and this time the registration success was 98% compared to 50% earlier. So again, the lesson there is, there are lessons in every failure. You can't let criticism bog you down, dishearten you. It is just an information that will help you and help you in growing and succeed in your life. And so yeah, I think if you will get failures when you start working in a company. You'll get failures even during MBA. You might not get good marks in your PowerPoint presentation. You might not achieve good scores in your exam. But the key lesson is, don't get disheartened. uh, it's not the end of the life. You need to group together, retain your composure, and think how you can get out of that situation. And that's the skill that companies are looking for. Companies know that, there would be failure, there would be project failures. It's your attitude towards how you handle that failure will determine your success. That's the thing that your directors and senior directors will not notice, that, how does this person handle failures, how does this person handle difficult situation. So those are the things that will help you in your life, and that has helped me. Like I gave you that example of Portal, and so that happened like few months back, like 7 or 8 months back. uh, since then, I can see the change in, how the senior directors see me. They see me as a person, who can deliver. And if there are any issues in delivery, I will find a way to resolve it. I'll not just get disheartened and start the blame game and started saying, oh, if it was a failure because this person was not doing good work. As a leader, it's your responsibility to make sure that the project is a success. And that might mean, you know looking after the well-being of your people. You might end up, once you grow in your life, you'll have people reporting to you. You need to see how their well-being is looked after or not. Are they having any personal issues in life, or do they have enough professional toolkits in their back pocket to help them do their job. So you have to do all of those things. You can't just say, this project was a failure because this person didn't do the job properly. But it was your responsibility to also look at the reasons why that person was not able to do the job properly. Does he not have the right skill sets? Does he need some trainings and certification? Or does he have any personal issues going on in his life? So yeah, so you need to be considerate about all the things, that's going on with any individual. Blame game doesn't help anyone. You need to understand the root cause and try to address it. And that's the quality of a leader, and that's what everyone is looking for. So, but yeah, happy to say that the Portal is app is really good right now. We are in top 3 insurance apps in UK. So we constantly get highest rating, in terms of our delivery, in terms of our features, in terms of our layout. Uh, so yeah, so it's a huge success now. Next thing I wanted to touch upon is, what are the factors that you would need to success at an international workplace. Many of these things you would know already, but yeah, I'll touch upon it. So I'll say 50% of it is your hard skills. So if you are in finance, your finance knowledge, your banking knowledge, your investment knowledge, so those are your hard skills. If you are in operations, your supply chain management skills, logistics knowledge, so all of those are hard skills. HR, if you need to know how to behavior management, organization management, so those are hard skills. If you're in marketing, you need to know some of the strategies, so 4 P's of marketing and all of that. So those are your hard skills. 25% is soft skills, which includes, your communication skills, which by far is the most important soft skill. That how do you communicate efficiently? How do you present information? You being an MBA, you will work with a lot of CEOs, CXOs, CFOs, and they don't have a lot of time on hand. They'll give their pearls of wisdom here and there. You need to catch it, expand on it, and then pass it on to the different teams to implement it, but also parallelly play it back to the CEOs, CFOs, to make sure that they're happy with what you're planning to do. And within that 25% is your attitude, towards how you handle failures, how you handle conflicts, how do you handle stakeholders. Not all stakeholders are not the same. you know if you're getting for example, if you're working on a portal app, if you're working on a mobile app, if you get a, let's say, if you get a feedback from a junior person versus if you get a feedback from a CEO, I'll not say that you have to ignore the advice of your junior person, but if you get advice from a CEO, you need to give more thought into it. You need to make sure that you do it. If you're not able to do it, you have to go back to CEO and properly explain why we shouldn't do it. CEOs are reasonable. If you explain to them properly why we shouldn't be doing it, they will understand it. But whereas to a junior person, you can just have a casual chat and say, we can't do it for this reason. But you don't have to do a proper PowerPoint for them to explain why we shouldn't be doing it, or why we should be doing something. So yeah, your soft skills are really important. Your communication skill, your attitude towards problem handling, conflict resolution, stakeholder management, all of that comes in your soft skills. And you are learning all of that in your MBA. You might realize it, you might not realize it, but by the amount of presentation that you have to do in your 2-year MBA course, and the amount of interaction that you would do with your colleagues, with your teachers, with your different companies that might come on campus, that all helps in your soft skills. Next 15%, I would say, is your socialization and integration skills. So that is very important when you're working in an international workplace. You need to understand the culture of the country that you're working on. You need to, you need the ability to do small talks. When you go in a meeting, there would be that 5-minute period when you have to do a small talk with someone. You can't just directly go in and start talking about business. You need to do small talks. While you're walking on the stairs, if you meet someone, you need the ability to do small talks. And how that would come is knowing the culture and what people like to talk about in that country. So I can give you example of UK. In UK, if you don't have anything to talk about weather. So that's always a safe topic. And then you can talk about football, for example. People don't like to talk about politics here at workplace, so you need to know that you don't start work politics discussions in office, in international workplace. People don't like to talk about it. I know, because I have worked in India also. People like to talk about politics within office. I remember in 2013, Modi was still a big topic. So we used to spend a lot of time talking about it. Even not with our colleagues, even with our managers within India. But at international workplace, people don't like to talk about politics. It might be different for different country, but in UK and in South Africa, not many people like to talk about politics at workplace. So don't talk about those. So you need to know what you should be talking about and what you shouldn't be talking about. And also you need to integrate with the people there. The client shouldn't think of you as an outsider. They shouldn't think of you as a person who has just come here to do a job. They should think of as as one of their own. If you do that, that will definitely help you. That will help you in making friends with them, and help you growing in your professional career also. Many of you might come as a contract employee in workplaces abroad. That will determine your contract extension also. But like I said, out of that 100%, it is 15%. 50% is still your hard skills, 25% is still your soft skills, and 15% is probably how you integrate with different employees within the company, different client managers. And the remaining 10%, I would say, is luck. So luck is still a huge factor. And that's true for everyone. And it's not in your control. So yeah, it's best if you concentrate on the remaining 90% and let you know luck play its own. But again, if you don't take any risks, then the luck will not come in picture. You have to take risks, and then only you will see whether your luck works out for you or not. But if you're not taking any risks, then that luck factor goes away. You're not trying anything new. You will not have anything to risk against. So that's on UK. So my last slide is on the key takeaways. So in this one, I would like to link our life with the hazard perception test that happens in UK. So as part of the driving test, so if you want to get a driving license in UK, you give so first is you have to give a written test, and then there is a hazard perception test, and then there is a practical driving test. So the written test is all about knowing your theory, knowing if you know the signals and all. Then there is a hazard perception test in which they'll ask you to sit in front of a simulator, and you're sitting in front of a simulator. You're simulating a driving experience, and then suddenly some hazards will come on your way. Some cyclist will come on your way, or someone will immediately stop their car on their way, and the key thing is they're noting how quickly you respond to it. How quickly you respond to the hazards that come on your way. And generally, I've seen it with all my Indian friends here, and I've compared it with my British friends also, that Indians generally score really well at this exam, at the hazard perception test. And that's because most of us have experience driving cars and bikes in India. And we are no strangers to, hazards on our way, people cutting lanes, or, dogs coming on the way, or potholes or whatnot. So we are no strangers to hazards that come on our way. So that's similar to in your life. This is similar to the setbacks that you'll face in your life. But being an Indian, you are really well prepared for it, and I can say to the experience that you are already experienced with facing and handling intense competition. So taking the figures that almost like 50-60,000 people give snap exam, and out of that 300 of you got selected in this college, which means conversion rate of less than 1%. So you are already experienced of facing and handling intense competition at during admissions, during school, if you have worked previously between your between your graduation and post graduation, during your interviews. So you're already experienced to facing and handling intense competition. You are book smart and street smart. You have done bachelor's, and you are now doing masters. So you are book smart. You know all about theory, and you are street smart. Again, growing up in India, doing a lot of practical experiences, doing a lot of PowerPoints, doing a lot of group activities. You are street smart. You know how to handle people. You know how to interact with people. So you are both book smart and street smart. You have a strong work ethic, and work ethics of Indians is something that everyone knows, that Indians have a strong work ethic. They really appreciate it. All the Western countries, all the Western clients. If you give a task to an Indian, you can be rest assured they'll deliver it. They know about it. So you have a strong work ethic. The Indians who have been at workplaces abroad, they have set up a good example for you. So yeah, in the end, I would say that you're already set up for success. You just need to keep working towards it. You would achieve what you want to achieve. You just need to keep working towards it. So yeah, that's it from me. And then I've put on my contact details, so you can email me or contact me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm open to any Q&As now. Thank you. Okay. So is it from Vigas Anushka? Okay. So okay. So in my first few days in HCL, I think it was all training, getting training on banking and financial services, and learning more about the business analysis profile. But once I landed in, so my actual work started when I landed in South Africa. So when I landed in South Africa, I started helping out with the test team first. So I started working with the testing team just to understand what they test on a day-to-day basis, spending more time on the systems, getting to know the system. But once I started doing as a fresher business analyst, it was speaking with not directly with a senior director or director, but like senior manager of a different system. For example, in my first few months, I was on a foreign exchange system. So I was working for a bank, and every bank has a foreign exchange system. If you want to convert your uh, Indian rupees to dollars or dollars to pounds or whatever, so they have a foreign exchange system. So I was working on that. So since I was still fresher, I was just working with SME. I did not have enough experience to go and speak directly with the CEOs. I was working with the SMEs of different systems, understanding what are the requirements, documenting it, and then documenting it in a way that our technical teams can understand it and they can develop a system. So we were helping in building a foreign exchange system for the bank. So I had to so I had to visit bank branches, speak with a lot of employees there, who are daily working day in and day out, and understand what are their requirements. So once I've understood those, I need to document it in a way that everyone understands. So for example, it needs to have a login page. Okay. Next one is what kind of currencies you want to convert: dollar to pound, dollar to this, dollar to South African rands. So yeah, understanding all the requirements, documenting it, playing it back to the SMEs, getting an approval that this is what we need to build on. And once it's signed off, then helping with the technical team and understanding what they need to build on. But again, as a fresher, you need a bit of a support from your senior business analyst. And yeah, I was getting that kind of support from my seniors who were peer reviewing my work and helping that in my conversations and all. And that plays a key role in building up that skill. So yeah, so that was my fresher business analyst profile. Okay. Yeah. Hi Shivendra. So definitely, having a computer science engineering background would help you, especially because you're doing your MBA in Bangalore, Bangalore being the IT capital of world or India. You know, you'll end up getting 50 to 60% companies who are somehow related to IT when you go for a placement interview. So like in our time, most of the companies were had a hint of IT link to it, be it Genpact, which is again kind of an IT company. It might not be a offshore kind of software provider, but it is an IT company. HCL, Deloitte, many of the companies will have some kind of IT flavor link to it. So it will definitely help you out. You don't need to remember all your coding experience and all, but some of the basics that if you are able to know, they'll not ask you in your interviews and stuff. But if you understand what is a server, if you understand what is different terminologies that you might get, different languages, you don't need to know the languages, but just having that core background will help you out in your interviews and talking with some technical people. So yeah, it will help you, but you don't need to really dig up your computer science engineering notes and learn your coding again. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Mm, then differently. I would say, I think one of the things that I regret is not forming enough relationships and not forming enough friendships with the, with my colleague, with my friends here, or with the students in SIBM. You know, people get in that groups kind of stuff. They make their groups of 5 or 6 different people, and that becomes their world. They'll not interact a lot with other groups. They'll not interact with a lot of other students personally. They might interact on a professional note, but not on a personal note. So that's one of the things that I do regret a bit, that I should have formed more relationships uh, with some of my students, some of my fellow students, and made some more friendships. Uh, that although many of us are connected on Facebook, we are. I'm almost friends with the whole of the batch of 2011-13. But if I need any personal help, or if I need any professional help, I don't have that kind of rapport that I can approach them. I can approach my 5, 6, or 7 good friends, but I can't approach more than that. So that's one thing that I regret on. So I would say definitely, socialize more with your friend group, help each other out. If you help each other out now, they will help you in your later phase of your life, when you are stuck and when you need help. So that is quite important. Definitely for more friendships, help each other out. We're all in this together. The more you support your own, own friend group, own college, the more it will help you. So yeah, definitely that's one of the things. If I think of anything else, I'll drop a message, but that's one of the things that comes to my mind. Oh, that's a good question. So yeah, it was a vast cultural shift. Once. Like I said, Johannesburg is not a very safe country, and you hear all kind of stories when you're sitting in India. When I was about to go there, then people used to tell me, oh, this happened with them, or someone car got jacked, someone stole a laptop, someone broke the window. So you hear all the story, and you form like a horror kind of picture in your head. So once I landed in South Africa, company organized taxi and all for us. We went to our hotel, and to our hotel, and and we also got a car from the company. And I knew driving, and they're on the same side of driving as India, so it was not difficult to drive there. So I remember one night, and I think I was like 1 week in South Africa. Me and one of my friend, we went for a dinner in a restaurant, and we parked our car like 2 minutes walk from the restaurant. So we went to the restaurant, had our food, and we were so scared to go back to our car because it was dark, and it's literally 2 minute walk away. We paid one of the waiters some money to escort us to the car. So we were so scared. So it was a huge cultural shift. But once you start living there, you realize it's not as bad, and you know what kind of precautions you have to take. If you are in a car, just keep your car locked, which is common sense, but you might not think of it in India, or you might not think of living in a small town, but it is common sense. Keep your car locked, uh, stop, don't go to shady places in the night. So, which is normal general advice, but you don't think of it living in India. But once you go to a different country, you have to give some emphasis to it. So that was definitely a cultural shift. So you need to be more aware of your surroundings. Apart from that, you go to a workplace, and you go to big buildings, and people don't talk about politics there. So that's one of the things that was a cultural shift. That you have to understand what people like to talk about and what people don't like to talk about. And you need to understand who's your client, what kind of things you can speak with the client. They are very happy to chat about your personal life. They'll ask, oh, how you're settling in, how's your apartment, how you're getting on. So they were happy to talk about those kind of stuff. So that was a cultural shift. Another big one is learning how to cook and how to clean your house, and driving on your own, and living alone without family and friends. You'll make new friends, but at the point you reach a country, you don't know the people there, you don't have any friends. So that was a big shift for me, that how to live alone. So that was a big shift. Apart from that, I think SIBM is an international college. You are part of Symbiosis International University. They'll give you international exposure. There's not much difference, I'll say, in terms of workplace. Many of you might have many of you might have experience already before coming to MPA, so you would have experienced some kind of talking with the international clients and all. So yeah, there was a cultural shift, but I think with your MBA you're well equipped, and you would be okay if you land abroad. Okay. Okay. Yeah, 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 you are. No problem. Yeah. So yeah, so working in India, obviously, many of us are Indian, so there's nothing much to talk about there. Uh, but yeah, I'll start with South Africa. So in South Africa, so one thing is common, everyone, Indians are really famous in terms of their work ethic. They hire Indians to do the job. They know that if you want to get a job done, hire someone from India. They'll get the job done. And many of us have a tendency of putting in extra efforts, which works out in the favor of the client. Like I said, we are not able to draw that professional and personal line. We are happy to put in extra hours in work, whereas many of the westerners might not spend a lot of extra hours at work. They'll come to office at 8, they leave their office at 4 or 4:30, and they'll not think about work. But being Indians, they know, they'll put in extra efforts, they'll do what was required to get the job done. So that is definitely the strong work ethic. And India is not only seen as a like a labor market now, that if you want to hire someone to do just the work, just hire Indian. They hire Indians for the skills also. So Indians are really famous in terms of any IT related. India dominates everyone whenever it comes to IT. And same for finance. So finance is also being dominated by Indians. And lately I've seen operations is also getting dominated by Indians. I would still say marketing and HR are still less Indian dominated compared to finance, operations, and IT. But yeah, definitely finance, operations, and IT is heavily dominated by Indians. So yeah, definitely strong work ethic, had them for their skills. And the difference in UK, I would say it's even more. I want to say UK is more relaxed than South Africa, but in reality, it's not. It's both UK and South Africa are kind of same, and it might be because they share the same colonial history. So the work culture is bit same between South Africa and UK, but yeah, definitely strong work ethic. They know that the Indians will do the job, and hire them for the skills. So like they will hire someone from a finance background because they know they can do the finance work. They have done a lot of studies. They know in and out of finance and operations and IT, and they would do the job. So yeah, I'll say not much of a difference between South Africa and UK, but definitely a difference compared to India and UK. That in India you'll see many people sitting in office late nights and all doing the work, but in UK you'll not see a lot of people sitting late nights, and they don't really want Indians also to sit late nights and do the work, on a daily basis. If it's required once a month or once a year, they'll be okay with it. But they'll reward you also for it. They'll give you proper overtime for it. They'll not expect you to do anything for free. So that's a big culture here, that they don't expect anyone to do anything for free. If they're asking you to do overtime, if they're asking you to go out of your normal working hour, they'll make sure they'll properly reward you. And also, they'll never force you. So in my 5 years in UK, I have there were time when where I have to do extra hours, I have to do overtime. But our senior management, they never forced us. They gave us an option that, we want to do this. If anyone is willing to do it, they can do it. But they never asked us, oh, you have to do overtime, otherwise you'll be out of job. They'll give you an option, and then it's up to people. Many people don't take it up. I know many of my Indian colleagues, and I have declined it on many occasions, because when I had some personal engagements, I'd say, sorry, I can't do this week. And they'll not judge you for it. Then they understand that everyone has a personal life. And even though projects are important, but it's not more important than your personal life. So they'll not encroach on your personal life. And similarly, you need to be sure that you don't encroach on their personal life. There was a point of time that I did not have anyone's mobile number, or at of my international friends or international colleagues, westerner colleagues. So they don't like to share their phone numbers and all with you. They don't want to discuss work. So talking about work on WhatsApp is a big no-no, which was a big cultural shift that in when I was in India, or when you work on a project where there are lots of Indians, they like to talk about a lot of work on your mobile WhatsApp. They'll send you messages and stuff about work, but you'll not see that here. It's very professional. You have to be on a laptop, not only for security reasons. So you can't leak uh, uh, information about critical information about work on WhatsApp. It's not a secured work environment. So they want you to be on your laptop if you're doing the job. They'll not message you. They'll not call you in your personal hours until and unless something really drastic has happened. So, but now I've been working here for 4 5 years now. Most of my international colleagues are my friends, so I have their phone numbers now. But yeah, when I started for a good 1 year or something, I did not have any phone number of anyone, because apart from one or two friends, because they don't want to discuss about work on your personal numbers and personal lines. So yeah, so that is a big difference, and you need to respect that don't encroach anyone's personal life. They give a lot of respect to their personal life, which is a key factor. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. So I think with anyone, people cope failures differently. So when I was in college, with you don't have experience on hand. You'll not get placed in a company. You'll think, oh, I'm a failure. I'll not achieve anything in life. I'll be stuck in a menial job or something. You'll think, the worst case scenarios when you're in college and not having enough experience if you handle failures. uh, I think the way is the same. You'll get out of the failure. You'll just take more time when you don't have experience. So if you are in a college, it might take you 3 4 days to come out of that failure and rejection kind of scenario. But then eventually, you'll convince yourself that yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. You will do something about your life. You need to promise yourself that work hard, and then you will achieve something in life. And again, you need to remember that if you are being rejected, it's not always for a bad reason. You might actually not be a right fit for the job, and the interviewer is actually helping you out by rejecting you. You might get selected in a job, and you might not have the right skill sets for the job. So interviewer is kind of doing a favor to you by rejecting you. And you might not realize at that point. You might think, oh yeah, I got rejected. It's not as black and white. It's all gray. Nobody wants to reject you unless you're not the right fit for the job. So so that's a key thing. The way to handle failure is same. Is just takes more time. And if I get a failure now, like like one of the app failure that I got, uh, I have more experience now. Once you reach your 30s, you get more experience, you get more calm. It's not the end of the world. you know Nobody's judging for you for it. You will see everyone faces failures. You are not the only one facing failure. Everyone faces failure. Failure is a way of life. But how you come out of it is how you determine your success. So if I was in college, it would take me 4 or 5 days of sobering and thinking, oh, I'm up to no good. But if it happens now, maybe after a good night's sleep, I'll next day I'll start thinking constructively. But in college, it might have taken me 4 or 5 days to start thinking constructively, start thinking about, oh, if I do a certification, would it help me out? But now I don't have that luxury of time, because I don't have people are relying on it. So next day when you wake up, you need to start thinking constructively. You need to start thinking, how do I get out of this rejection? How do I get out of this mess? So yeah, I'll say the way is same. The personal message would be, it's not the end of the world. Retain your composure. Life is really long, and you will achieve what you want to achieve. You'll get plenty of opportunities to catch up on. One of the things that I see in UK is, many people change their career when they are, when they're at the top of the career. So I know many people. So I have a friend. He used to be a butcher. So he used to be really like, cutting sheeps and lambs and all in a butcher shop. So he used to do that. And then he realized that, yeah, he doesn't want to do it. So he was in his mid 30s and he said, oh, I want to do a career change. So he joined a insurance company as a call center employee, worked for a few years, changed the role within the company, and then the change role, kept on changing role within the company after 3 4 years gaining experience. So he was a butcher at 35, and I think now he's 43 or something, and he's in my team, and he's a manager of a business analysts. So yeah, so that's another thing. Don't think that if you get placed in a company, you're going to do the same thing for the rest of your life. Many of us are going to work until 60 or 65. I'll say if the average age is 25 in SIBM, you're going to work for 40 years. You might not be doing the same thing for the rest of your life. You might be changing career, you might be changing teams, you might get hired in a different division of finance, you might move to a different division of finance, you might move into marketing, you might move into HR. So when I was in HCL, the person who was leading the whole finance domain, whole finance vertical, he was leading like 15,000 people in finance area. He got a job as a chief HR officer of the company. Imagine a person handling the whole finance division, 15,000 people, and becoming the HR officer for the company. So don't think that if you are not placed anywhere, or if you get rejections, it's the end of the world. You would get a lot of opportunities in your life, to catch up, to achieve different things what you wanted to achieve. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And I'll send my details to Harshmit, and you can contact me on LinkedIn or send me email if you need any advice, anything. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a note. I'll reply it. So yeah, it was really lovely speaking with all of you. All the best for your career. You are in good hands. It is a really good college to be in. Form some good friendships, learn new skills, and you're already set up for success. So don't worry about any of the things. Just go with the flow. Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you all. Cheers. Bye.